And I am leaving the Big Island for Vienna, Austria. I'm gonna miss my sibs here. Got a heck of bags here. Oh, this is just my camera computer bag. Jesus. So yes, I'm gonna be filming my travel as I make my way to Vienna. It's about 30 plus hours of travel time. Interesting stuff. You can try.
Oh my god.
We got a cat under here. Owl, I will miss you so much. And then Romeo over there. Awesome. And then Romeo. Goodbye, Romeo. Owl, I'm gonna miss you. We're getting through security right now. The bag right here. Another one on my back. See you when it's boarding time. Thanks very much. All right, time to get on the plane. Woohoo! So after landing at LAX, I headed to the airport currency exchange where I proceeded to get ripped off. I then had a bite to eat with my dad before saying goodbye to him and parting ways since we only had our first flight together. I got on a bus to the international terminal where I still had some time to kill. I had over 5 hours left in my layover, so I wasted some time on my computer before making my way to the gate. I then zoomed through the airport, as you can see, because this footage is definitely not sped up, and I did a little workout once I got to the gate because I had 10 hours of sitting ahead of me. So let's get on the plane.
Yeah. Welcome on board, sir.
So when I got to Amsterdam, I met up with one of my friends named Morgan who I'd be flying the rest of the way with. I arrived very sleep deprived, but happy to be there. During my first week abroad, I met all of my classmates, I started exploring Vienna, figuring out the public transport system, and only 5 days after arriving, 4 of my new friends and I decided to go on a trip. This would be the start of a near weekly tradition of traveling to new countries. It's the one right here.
Okay,
So
cool.
we just go right outside.
Let's do it.
After a 3-hour bus between Vienna and Budapest, we arrived at the bus station where we took a taxi to our Airbnb. After getting there, we did some shopping to buy what we needed for dinner before walking back to the apartment, seeing a beautiful rainbow, and beginning to cook. After a very late but fun night and a slow morning, we made our way to the Central Market, which is the largest indoor market in Budapest. We explored, took some photos, and listened to some live music. After the market, we snuck on a tram to get to the Hungarian Parliament building where we watched a protest and took a couple cool photos. We then walked across a bridge to the other side of Budapest where we explored a bit more, saw a waterfall, and even saw another rainbow. As our trip came to an end, we took a group photo before heading back to Vienna for our second week of school. Just like every other trip in my first semester, it started out at the student house. We headed to the Vienna Central Station where we took a beautiful hour-and-a-half train ride to Bratislava. Very cool.
Take medicine from strange women.
Yep.
Salahi's treating us great.
Right now we are headed to the Blue Church.
Yeah.
Blue Church.
It better be blue.
Alright, here we go. Hyperlapse time.
I love how smooth the roof looks. I feel like you could sleep on it.
It's beautiful.
The Kirche is flat.
After a beautiful group photo at the church, we headed to the park to do some handstands because what trip to a new country is complete without them? After some pro-level handstands, we were hungry. We thoroughly enjoyed our food at grandmother's restaurant before going to explore a castle. More handstands and many staircases later, we got to this beautiful lookout at the Bratislava castle. We took some more amazing photos as a group and we walked around this huge castle on a hill. Somehow it was already time to think about dinner, so we walked down the many stairs back from the castle while getting to listen to Jaren serenade Mo.
Birthday to Mo, happy birthday to Mo, happy birthday to Mo, happy birthday to Mo.
Instead of dinner, we ended up opting for cheese, crackers, and non-alcoholic wine, definitely on purpose, and we watched the sunset on the Danube. After the sun went down, we made our way back to the train station and back to Vienna, having had a very successful day trip to a new country. I think going to a new country for the day is always going to sound crazy to me. And happy birthday, Mo! Having a home base in Vienna near one of the largest airports in Europe meant that I had access to budget flights going to a bunch of different countries. So going to an island in Greece sounds like a very expensive trip, but when you're going for 2 nights, splitting an Airbnb between 5 people, and you have round-trip flights for less than 40 euros, I would say that's worth it. After a 2-hour flight to Zakynthos and a short taxi ride to our Airbnb, we set off on our adventures. The first night we walked on the beach for sunset where we took some photos, and then we ended up going to sleep pretty early because we had a plan to get up for sunrise. The sunrise over the ocean behind a mountain was just absolutely gorgeous, and we even got to see some turtles that were just hatching and making their way down to the water. So when I got back to Vienna, I made kind of a big mistake, which is that I formatted the SD card that all of my footage was on, meaning I deleted everything and there's no way of getting it back. And so as the semester went on and I went on more trips, I took lots more photos and I used my phone to record videos. So this marks the end of the wacky 360 footage until my return to Europe for my semester in Italy. So during our 1 full day in Zakynthos, we took a 5-hour boat tour which brought us to the harbor to see sea turtles, then to a cool view of Cameo Island before going to a beach on Marathonisi Island for some tanning, and finally to some sea caves that I didn't get any great photos of. After the boat tour, I went into town in search of a white outfit to match with the rest of my group. We had a really fun evening followed by an early morning flight back to Vienna. So as a very last minute plan, Morgan, Hayden, and I ended up going to this island in Spain called Mallorca. I took tons of photos of everything I did. I would literally just like close my eyes, spin in a circle, and then whichever direction I ended up, I would just go that way. The town was kind of more of just a party town, but then all right, next on the list is Croatia. The winds were so strong that the plane almost had to turn around. I remember when we were landing, we were like bouncing all over the place. It just felt like we were sideways, and then all of a sudden we were on the ground. It was already totally dark by the time we got to the Airbnb, so all we really had time for was walking, pizza, sleep. Dubrovnik Old Town, it's this big like castle wall going around this old city. After a full day of exploring Dubrovnik, Meredith and I decided to go have dinner with some new friends we made who also happened to be studying abroad in Vienna for the semester. Pretty much all of our Sunday was just traveling back to Vienna, getting there, doing some schoolwork, repeating the process for the next week. You've probably gotten the theme by now. That's about that for Croatia. For Halloween weekend, Jaren and I went to Prague. We went right to sleep when we got to our hostel because it was like 2 in the morning. Once we woke up, we put together a list of places to explore just by looking at Google Maps, and we started our day. The first place we went was a garden where I got this lovely photo, and then we walked down to the river where I saw this literal hole-in-the-wall coffee shop. We went to this very odd building called the Dancing Building, which is like a very weird, twisted building. And then we walked over to the river where we crossed on the Legion Bridge, which I think is significant for some reason. We walked up to the Prague Castle for some handstands and exploring, which did not disappoint because I think this was the biggest church or castle I had ever been in. We made our way back into the center of Prague to see the astronomical clock, where we ate lunch and I tried escargot for the first time. It's an interesting food. We finished the day by wandering the streets aimlessly until the sun went down, and we celebrated Halloween Eve by hopping around to some music. We ended the night at KFC at 4 a.m. before heading back to our hostel for a couple hours of sleep and then waking up to go back to Vienna in the morning. It turns out Christmas starts early in the Netherlands because it was the first week of November, and when I was arriving at the airport they were already setting up Christmas decorations. This weekend I went to visit my friend Jolijn in a town called Maastricht. In the evening we walked around and looked at some pretty lights, and I did my first handstand in country number 8. The next morning we went out for breakfast before taking Jolijn's moped over the border to Belgium, where I got another handstand, and we visited this old church where we definitely did not carve our names into the side of the wall. So this is me making sure that I didn't get caught. We spent the rest of the day walking around Maastricht, and in the evening we had dinner with a couple of friends that I had never met in person before. After a relaxed evening, Sunday morning came around, and as always it was time to fly back to Vienna. Country number 10 of this semester was certainly one to remember. A €10 round-trip flight to Warsaw, a pub crawl around the city, 8 miles of walking and exploring the old town, delicious dumplings, and getting COVID made this a very memorable last trip. I definitely wasn't filming so much at this point in the semester, but it was nice to not have that as the focus for a change. I would say it was a pretty successful final trip. Alright my friends, that is the end of the semester and therefore the end of the video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. That's not actually true, because when Jaren and I got back from Poland, we had COVID, and so did half of our class. At the same time, Austria announced they were doing a national lockdown, meaning we might not be able to leave the country. Our school had a meeting and decided they wanted to send us home, so as soon as we got our negative tests, we all flew home, and we finished our semester online. It was a sudden end to the semester, and therefore a sudden end to the video, so bye. Okay, I don't know why I keep doing that, but I truly don't think I could have imagined a more perfect first semester of college. I mean, going to 10 countries. 10 fucking countries in 2 months is like, I can't even wrap my head around that now. And doing that while in school was amazing. And of course the school's not bringing me to that, I'm doing that on my own time. But being in a place where I can do that on my own time is just amazing. The school is Long Island University Global, and I was at that school for 1 year. I left, and now in a couple of months I'm going to be going back. There is going to be a part 2, so this video was my first semester of my first year of college. Part 2 is going to be my second semester, where I lived in Florence, Italy, and traveled all around the country. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you, or more likely, you will see me in the next video. Wait, did you say something? What? You don't want to wait months and months for my next video to come out? Well, you're in luck, because in 7 days I'm going to Bali, and there will be more content to come very, very soon, starting with what I'm bringing, 15 pounds. And that's it for 1 month. Stay tuned for my adventures and my travels and all of the random shit that I say in these videos and everything else, because it's gonna be very exciting, and as you can tell I'm very excited, so that's all, and thank you so much. This is actually the real end of the video because, yeah, so bye.